Hey everyone, it's Miss Marnon, so I'm going to show you how to do this Unit 2, page 9, subtraction problems. So just so that we are all in agreement, we're going to do this like if you were in class. We're going to pause the video when I say it's time to work, and then you are going to try it on your own. So I was just making a copy. I needed a copy of this. I'm going to call this one key because it's what we're writing on. So this is going to be, I'm going to say, hey, here's the problem. You're going to take a minute and solve it, and then you can play the video and watch it back to make sure your answer is correct or fix anything that you need to fix. So here's our DIN. So we have review, write the expressions below as addition, then evaluate each expression. And then we have a preview, write two equivalent expressions that represent the situation. An airplane flies at an altitude of 25,000 feet. A submarine dives to a depth of 600 feet below sea level. What is their difference in elevation? So you're going to pause the video and complete the DIN. Okay, so we're going to do this first one. We have to just rewrite and then evaluate. So I'm going to rewrite all of them first. So if that's the part that got you stuck, you can still evaluate on your own. So 5 minus 8. We're going to use leave, change, change. So we're going to leave the 5 alone. Change subtraction to addition, and change positive 8 to negative 8. And then find out what that equals. The next one, leave, change, change. Leave the 5, change the subtraction to addition, and change negative 8 to positive 8. Last one, you're going to leave the 156. Going to change subtraction to addition. Change negative 32 to positive 32. So if you haven't already answered these, why don't you pause the video, and now that we have the addition sentences, you can answer them. Okay, so we have 5 plus negative 8. This is going to be negative 3. 5 plus 8 is going to be 13. 156 plus 32 is 188. So now we just have our preview. So I'm going to use the cubes strategy for reading a word problem. So circling the numbers, underlining the question, boxing the math words, like estimate or evaluate, whatever you want to do for E. I like to use it for eliminating fluff. And then S is solving cubes. And right now all I'm doing is I'm just giving myself some more space. So as I'm annotating, I'm not drawing over anything important. Let's do pink. We haven't done pink. So it wants us to write two equivalent expressions. I'm circling the number. The airplane flies at 25,000 feet, circling that number. The submarine is 600 feet. I'm going to box below, because that's going to tell me something. Our question is, what is the difference in their elevation? I'm also going to box difference. I know it tells me subtraction. And I kind of like to write a little note to myself that it's subtraction. So I'm going to draw a picture to make sure I get the right answer. So I always like to draw pictures. So we're going to do, here's my plane. So I'm just going to quickly draw a plane. No making fun of Miss Martin's plane. She's doing her best. There's my, oh, that was a bad line. There's my plane. You can put a window on it if you want. It's a plane. Okay, so it's 25,000 feet up. And that's above sea level. So if I draw in sea level here, right, this is our 0. Sea level is always 0. A submarine is 600 feet below. So let's see if I can draw a submarine. It's not the greatest submarine, but it's a submarine. Okay, there's the propeller on the back. And let's do some windows. Okay, so the submarine is 600 feet below sea level. So if I look at this below sea level really means this is negative 600. And if I just look at the distance, this distance is 25,000. This distance is 600. So it's like we have to add them. But difference tells us subtraction. So really the first one we can write is we can do that 25,000 minus the negative 600. That 600 below is really negative. Or we can show it, we know distance is positive, we can add 600. And those are our two expressions. If we wanted to evaluate, We can add them up or we can subtract the negative, but you can subtract the negative. I'm going to add the positive. Same thing, right? 25,600 and make sure we write in feet. So let's go to the next question. So here, this is all about the integer card game. So there's a lot of card games actually where the whole game is you have a couple of cards in your hand. You pick a card either from a discard pile or from a new pile like Uno, right? And then you have to play or discard a card. So the integer card game, you're doing the same thing. On your turn, you draw a card and then you discard a card. But your point, instead of trying to get like one card like Uno, you are trying to get your whole hand to equal to 0. So this is just going through, these are cards in the game if you were playing the game. So for all of these integer card game questions, you can pause the video and try them on your own. Okay, so after you try this, it's saying, what is the current value of your hand? Let's get some purple out. So to get the value of your hand, all you do is you add them up. So you can do 4 plus -2. The current value of your hand is 2. So now it's saying, how does removing the negative card change the value of your hand? So they're saying if you get rid of this -2, that's like saying 4 plus -2 minus -2. If you get rid of it, we can see only the 4 cards left. This is worth 4. So our hand, it went up. So removing the negative increased it or went up. The next question says, how does adding the additive inverse of your negative card change your hand? So we're adding the inverse, right? So instead of taking away the negative, we're going to add the positive. So it's 4 plus -2 plus 2. These are a zero-sum pair. They zero out. You're just left with 4 again. So how does adding the additive inverse of the card change your hand? So from here, it's the same, or it increased from the start. But we can see that these two examples are the same thing. So you can subtract a negative or add a positive. You'll get the same hand value overall. So what do you notice? So again, we've been over this a few times. I can't tell you what to notice. You're going to type here what you notice. So I kind of pointed some things out to you. You can phrase it however you want. Then we just have 2 more questions for you to try. So the first one is, what is the difference in height between 30 meters up a cliff and 87 meters up a cliff? So if you haven't done this problem yet, pause the video and try it now. Okay, so what is the difference in height? Let's draw our picture. So if I wanted to, I could actually, let's do some cube strategy first. I'm going to box the word difference. I'm going to circle my numbers. And if I was going to underline the question, I have to underline the whole thing. So let's draw our picture. So here's a person. They're hiking on the cliff. They're 87. Here's another person. They're at 30. What's the difference in their height? Difference means subtract. So we can do 87 minus 30. Or instead of subtracting a positive, we can add the negative. Same thing. So if you do 87 plus -30, you're going to get 57, and it's meters. Okay. One last question before you have your independent practice and your exit ticket. So let's switch to green. What is the difference in height between a seagull flying at 100 meters above the surface of the ocean and a shark swimming 30 meters below the surface? So pause the video and try this question now. Okay, so I'm going to use my cube strategy. I'm going to box the math action word difference. We got 100 meters above, and we have a shark at 30 meters below. So let's draw a picture. So here's my seagull, he's flying. Here's the surface of the ocean. And let's just draw a quick little fish for my shark. Okay, so here's my little picture. The seagull's at 100 meters above. The shark is at 30 meters below. If sea level is 0, that really means this is -30. So just real quick, if you got 70, I want you to look at this. If you wrote 100 plus -30, look at this distance. If this is 100 and this is 30, our overall distance is going to be more than 100, not less. So you can write it, if it's a difference, as subtraction of negative 30. Or from our model, we can rewrite this. Instead of subtracting a negative, add the positive. It's really 130 meters above difference. So the seagull's 130 meters above the shark. So you have two things to do now. You have independent practice 9 on Canvas, and you have your exit ticket. This exit ticket was confusing for some people. So for the value of her hand, I'm just going to show you, you're just going to add up 2 plus -4 plus -3 plus 7. Figure out what that number equals. Once you have that number, right, here's the number. I'm going to put it, here's the red spot for both of those. So whatever that number is, you're going to fill it in here. Number. They want to say, how can you get 5 by adding a card? So adding some mystery number, so equals 5. This one wants you to remove it, so subtracting some mystery number and getting 5. So hopefully that kind of helps with the exit ticket. It was confusing for some of us, but we're talking about starting with this value. How can you get 5 if you add a card or if you discard a card? So you're going to do your exit ticket and your independent practice 9. So if I hit next, it takes you to independent practice 9. It's going to be 5 points. There's always an extra credit one too. So there's 6 questions. It shouldn't take you long when you're all done. You're all done with math for today.